Now, we go to the dentist normally about every 6 months, but what about horses? What are the problems that horses face dentistry-wise?
Well, the main problem is that they have what we call hypsodont teeth. And what that means is that their teeth grow to a certain length, and they have what we call this reserve crown, and it sits up inside the skull. And through the lifetime of the horse, this tooth will wear off on the surface, and it will keep erupting into the mouth. Okay, so this is a really good design for where horses are intended to live, which is a very dry, semi-arid environment. But we have taken horses out of that environment and put them into our domestic, very soft grass type of situation, which isn't the best for their teeth. And what happens is you tend to get irregular wear patterns with those teeth, is the most simple way I can put it.
There's a lot of tooth that's in the skull.
Exactly, and that has to last the horse's lifetime. So generally you would get 1 to 2 millimetres of tooth erupting through the gum line a year, and that's the rate it will be wearing off. But if for some reason a tooth doesn't have opposition, that rate can increase a lot, and you get what we call hyper-eruption, and teeth can become quite protuberant. They stick up and they cause blocking problems. The other thing is that often horses won't use the whole of the surface to grind with, what we call lazy eaters, because our food is quite soft, and then you get parts of the tooth left that hasn't worn away that should have. So most of our work is actually taking away tooth that should have worn away in a natural situation.
So what are you looking for? Are you looking for spurs, or are you just...
Basically anything. Like the teeth should form a nice arcade row of teeth, and anything that goes outside that row is a problem for the horse. And the reason being, like when a horse eats, we've got this lovely skull here to demonstrate, its jaw basically goes down, out, up and across in a circular motion, and this horse can't do it because it's locked and it's also dry because it's a skull. So we've got this circular pattern going on, so anything that stops that mouth from being able to do that rotation smoothly is a problem for the horse, not only in its eating but also in its comfort. And it also interferes with the way that the horse can perform when we ride it. The mouth needs to be able to go sideways for the horse to be able to turn its body and flex through the whole body. If it can't do that, it will have various ways of getting out of it, which usually become problems for us as riders. The other thing for so we obviously need a side-to-side motion for the horse's mouth, and the other thing is it needs to be able to go backwards and forwards slightly with rostral caudal movement, and it's about that much. It's a very small amount of movement, but if it can't do that, it's going to be uncomfortable when it's being ridden, and it won't be able to perform properly. Like its hind legs won't come underneath, it'll hollow, it'll throw its head up. They've got lots of different ways of getting out of doing what we want them to because they're not comfortable if the mouth can't function.
So what are you looking for when you open the mouth?
I'm looking for no sharp teeth and nice uniform sets of teeth going through the whole arcade, basically. We
go to the dentist 6 monthly,
yep,
or perhaps annually. How often should a horse be looked at?
When they're young, they should go 6 monthly too. So we generally say 2.5 or before they're first ridden, and that's generally just taking off sharp edges. But at 2.5, they start to change their baby teeth, and that's when they can start to get problems if their teeth aren't shedding at the same time. We can get this hyper-erupting problem that I was talking about before.
To me, it's astounding that the mouth can control all its behaviour.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a comfort thing. If they're not comfortable, then it's going to affect the way they hold their body, and then they'll start getting tense muscles back through parts of their system. So that's going to become uncomfortable, and they'll start moving in different patterns. So it's not just about comfort within the mouth, it's about the whole body. It also obviously affects their digestion. If you've got particles of grass that are not being chewed properly, they can colic quite easily, things like that. So yeah, it's the whole body.
So before we start, you're going to find out externally where there could be problems.
Yeah, well, you can just find out that there are, definitely something going on. So we just tend to look at the symmetry of the horse's muscling, its head, come down the side. Something people can do for themselves if you just feel up under here. So he's going, don't touch me there, because it's got sharp edges that are sticking into his cheeks. If I come into the side from here and just gently put some pressure on there.
The ears have gone back.
Yeah, he's not too bad at side. He doesn't really like it, but this side he's very much don't touch me there. So that straight away to me shouts dental problem before I even look in his mouth. And then I would tend to open up the lips and just make sure we've got 6 teeth top and bottom. And if you come round behind me, you'll see that he's actually got what we call a diagonal bite. So his teeth are longer on the top on this side and on the bottom on the other side.
And don't touch me there.
Yeah, and he's like just pretty pretty much leave me alone all over my mouth, really.
So you're a vet and you're going to tranquilise or quietly
Sedate the horse.
horse. Why is that important?
Lots of different reasons. For a start, we want to make the process kind of calm, safe for both the horse and everyone else concerned. So we want to get them in a happy place so that we can make it a good experience for them. Also, when we're putting the speculum on, which opens up their mouth, when they're sedated, you can get it open, you can examine the whole mouth, you can get right to the back of the mouth. What we tend to find is when we don't have them sedated, a lot of times the horse is trying to fight you, the horse is potentially restricting the access to the very back of the mouth. And so to get a really good, thorough job done, we want them calm, we want them happy with what we're going to do as a procedure, and we want to evaluate the whole mouth and get to the back of the mouth. And it tends to be, in most horses, we have to get them sedated for that.
Not everybody does it. Is there room for every horse to be sedated?
Yeah, I mean, it depends a little bit on what they're going to have done. Sometimes you can do kind of routine maintenance of various areas of the mouth without too much sedation, but to really evaluate the whole mouth, you need to have them sedated to get to those areas. So we would recommend, in general, to do a proper evaluation with sedation and getting the whole mouth examined at least once a year. If you've got one small access point to do, you might be able to get it done, but realistically you need to get the sedation to get that full exam. And as Claire said, once a year or thereabouts, just to make sure everything's evaluated and everything's done.
Now I saw that you checked the heartbeat on this particular horse.
Yeah. Well, we use it as an opportunity to go through like a routine healthcare check for them as well. So, you know, one thing when we're sedating them, we're putting a drug into the system, we want to make sure that their heart is healthy, that there's no heart murmur, that there's no arrhythmia, anything that the drugs we're putting into them would affect. The other thing is it's a good opportunity for us to evaluate other things in the horse, right? To make sure that the heart's good, make sure that there's no other health issues that we can address just on a routine basis. So it's kind of like a warrant of fitness for them as well, and so we can use it for the horse's benefit in other ways as well.
So you're just sedating it, there's no problem, it'll come out of it with a grin all over its face.
Yeah, I mean it just keeps them kind of sleepy. They don't lie down. Sometimes they stumble a little bit when they get to find their balance. They've got 4 feet, and if they put them at the 4 corners, they find it a little easier to balance. Sometimes they sway a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty easy procedure for them. They just have a nice sleep, chill out, enjoy the procedure.
So basically what he's got is this, I was talking to you before about how they don't use the whole arcade to chew all the time. So he's got an angle to that part of his tooth, and then it gets longer as you go towards the outside, and that's what's stopping him getting across. And then as you go right to the back, he's got just little hooks on the back really. It's quite sharp on the outside. And he's got quite a bit of what we call enamel ridging, so all these ridges up and through here, all these ridges going across the tooth, can you see that? Yeah. They shouldn't be like that. That locks that backwards and forwards movement. So we need to take those out. So the teeth actually grind really well when they're a lot flatter. They're not designed to be all rough and bumpy and lumpy. It's a bit like a mortar and pestle. Smooth surfaces grind really well. They actually get their grind from the angle of the arcades of teeth, not from lumps and bumps on the tooth.
So you've taken the rack out, for the want of a better term. What happens?
Yeah, I've done
next?
what I call the bulldozing. So I've gone and taken all the high teeth and the sharp edges off. And now I'm going to do the incisors where we've got good sedation, because for them that's the worst bit.
Yep.
The incisors at the front tend to be, they're just a single rooted tooth, and they vibrate quite a bit while we're working on them. They don't really like it because you can't say, hey, we're trying to help you here. So
Well,
fix this up
But
next.
it's not going to believe you.
And then I'll go back into the back and finish off once I've done this, got this sorted out.
So this is the front bit so that the top and the bottom can move across.
Yep, I mean I want to correct this diagonal bite, but I've already got the lateral excursion in the back. You can see how his teeth are being pushed, like the alignment should be across here, and his jaw's being pushed way sideways. I've taken off all the sharp edges and even out the high points in the back of the mouth and any teeth that are protuberant, and then I've been and worked on the incisors and corrected the wedge, the diagonal bite, for as much as we can for the horse at this point in time.
So basically he'll be a different horse now.
Yep, we've given him back full function, and that's going to make him comfortable, and his whole demeanour will change. He'll become a much happier horse. He'll be able to make better use of the food that he gets. His weight will increase. He will perform better. Just be a lot more laid back, basically.
When do you want to see him again?
12 months.
And it won't be such a big deal next time.
Definitely not, but I will still get him sedated. The problem with horses being done unsedated is that the teeth right at the back of the mouth never get done, and also the incisors don't get done sufficiently, and it is a problem for the horse. You know, it's a bit like you wouldn't get the farrier in and get them to trim 3 feet and not the 4th one, but this is what is happening with the mouth all the time. You know, not all the teeth are being done, and because all their teeth are in contact at the same time, a problem anywhere creates a problem overall. As fast as you'll go. You're still quite sedated.